On my 18th birthday, my family said, "We prepared something special for you." My stepmother pushed an envelope across the table with a big smile. Inside was a bill for $182,000. She looked me in the eyes and said, "The cost of raising you after your worthless father got blown up in Afghanistan. Now that you're legal, you're going to pay us back every single cent." My stepfather raised his glass. The whole room, family, neighbors, burst out laughing like it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I simply folded the bill, put it in my pocket, and walked out. They thought they had broken me. They had no idea they had just triggered their own downfall. But before I tell you what that text message said, I need you to understand something about me. At 18, I wasn't some rebellious teenager looking for drama. I was exhausted, bone-deep exhausted. For 12 years, I had been the invisible glue holding that house together while pretending I didn't exist. I had learned to smile on command, to say thank you when I wanted to scream, and to disappear into the basement when the yelling started. That night, walking the 6 blocks to Jenna's house in the cold March air, I kept touching the folded bill in my pocket like a wound I couldn't stop pressing. Every streetlight I passed reminded me of all the nights I had walked these same sidewalks carrying Tyler and Kayla's backpacks because Diane was too tired. I remember thinking, this is it. This is the moment they finally went too far. Little did I know, the universe had been preparing receipts for years. 2 days later, my phone lit up with 63 missed calls and one text message that made me smile for the first time in years. Because everything they stole from me was about to be exposed. My name is Amy Jennings. I'm 18 years old. If your blood is already boiling, hit like right now and subscribe. Drop your city and local time in the comments. I want to know who's still here with me as the truth comes out. I need to take you back to understand how we got here. Back to August 12th, 2013. I was 6 years old. I don't remember much about the day the officers came to our door. I remember fragments. My mother's scream. High-pitched. Animal. Then my brain just stopped recording. The funeral is a blur of flags and strangers in uniform and someone's hand on my shoulder that wouldn't let go. I don't remember my father's face from that day. I don't remember his voice. I remember his uniform hanging in the closet before they took it away. I remember the smell of his cologne on the fabric. I remember my mother crying in the bedroom with the door closed. And then, 3 months later, I remember her not crying anymore. By November, she was dating Clayton. By Christmas, he'd moved into our house. My father's photos came down the same week the Christmas tree went up. I was 6. I didn't understand what was happening. I just knew that one day I had a father, and then I didn't. And then, no one wanted to talk about him anymore. I tried to keep one photo. A small one. My dad in his dress uniform, smiling at the camera. I hid it under my pillow. For 3 months, I'd look at it every night before I went to sleep, trying to remember his face. Diane found it in February. I was 7 years old, sitting on my bed doing homework when she walked in holding the photo. She didn't say anything at first, just looked at me. Then she held it up to the light and ripped it down the middle, right through his face. "He's gone, Amy. He's not coming back. Stop living in the past." I started crying. I couldn't help it. She looked at me like I was pathetic. "Crying won't change anything. Grow up." I was 7 years old and she told me to grow up about my dead father. That moment carved something permanent into me. From then on, I became a master at shrinking myself. In school, teachers praised me for being so mature for my age. They had no idea I was mature, because I had to be. At parent-teacher conferences, Diane would show up with Tyler on her hip, smiling that perfect church smile, while I sat quietly in the corner like an afterthought. By 3rd grade, I had stopped raising my hand in class. By 4th grade, I stopped bringing home drawings. What was the point when the only reaction I'd get was, "Put that away, Amy, we're busy with the baby." I started keeping a secret notebook under my mattress. Just little sentences like, "Dad would have liked this," or, "I miss the way Mom used to sing." I never wrote his name. Even in my own notebook. I was scared she would find it. That June, she married Clayton in a small ceremony at the courthouse. I wasn't invited. They said I was too young to understand what was happening. A month later, they packed up everything that belonged to my father. Medals, uniforms, photos, the flag from his funeral. Everything went into boxes and disappeared into the garage. "Fresh start," Diane said. "We're a new family now." By the end of summer, it was like my father had never existed. I learned to grieve in silence, to cry under my blanket where she couldn't hear me, to never mention his name unless I wanted to see that look on her face, the one that said I was being difficult, ungrateful, living in the past. I was 8 when Tyler was born. The day Diane came home from the hospital with him, she walked into my bedroom and said, "This is Tyler's room now. You can sleep in the basement. It's only temporary." It wasn't temporary. I moved my things downstairs. One small bed, concrete walls, a tiny window near the ceiling that barely let in light. I shared the space with the washing machine and storage boxes full of things no one wanted but couldn't throw away. When Kayla was born 2 years later, I was already the built-in babysitter. By the time I was 11, my routine was set. Wake up at 5:30 in the morning, make breakfast for Tyler and Kayla, pack their lunches, get them dressed, walk them to school, pick them up in the afternoon, help with homework, make dinner, do laundry, clean the kitchen, put them to bed. Diane worked part-time at a dental office. Clayton worked the warehouse shift. But somehow, I, a child, was responsible for raising their children. I didn't complain. What was the point? This was my life. I thought it was normal. I thought this was what daughters did. Christmas 2022. Tyler got a gaming PC. $1,200. Kayla got an iPad. $800. I got a $25 Target gift card. "You're practical," Diane said when I opened it. "You don't need expensive things." I thanked her, smiled, put the card in my pocket. That night, I cried in the basement, not because of the gift card, but because I finally understood. I wasn't their daughter. I was free labor. The worst part wasn't the chores or the basement. It was the way they made it sound like I should be grateful. Every Sunday at church, Diane would tell people, "Amy is such a blessing. She helps so much with the little ones." The congregation would smile and pat my head like I was some saint. No one ever asked why a 12-year-old was changing diapers at 6 a.m. while the other kids played video games. I started noticing how Clayton would brag about providing for the family, while I was the one making sure Tyler and Kayla actually ate vegetables. I kept my part-time job at the local Chick-fil-A a secret for as long as I could. Every paycheck went into that shoebox under the loose floorboard. I told myself if I could just survive until 18, I would be free. In 2018, they renovated the house. New master suite, expanded deck, updated kitchen, $87,000 in construction. I asked once where the money came from. Diane smiled. "We work hard, Amy. We save. We invest. Maybe if you were more grateful, you'd understand how the real world works." I never asked again. But I started paying attention. The Florida condo they bought but never invited me to visit. Clayton's brand new truck. The private school tuition for Tyler and Kayla, while I went to the public school across town. Something didn't add up. A dental assistant and a warehouse manager shouldn't be able to afford all of this. But I was 16, 17. What did I know about money? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they were just better at budgeting than I thought. Or maybe I should have asked sooner. The week before my 18th birthday, Diane started acting strange, overly nice. She announced she wanted to throw me a party. A real party. I should have known something was wrong. In 17 years, they'd never celebrated my birthday. My 10th birthday, they forgot entirely. I spent the day alone in the basement. My 16th birthday, they went to Florida. Without me, I stayed with a neighbor. Now, suddenly, they cared? 18 is a milestone, Diane said, her voice dripping with fake warmth. We want to celebrate you properly. The guest list was all theirs. 20 people. Neighbors I barely knew. Clayton's co-workers, Diane's book club friends, people from their church. Not a single one of my friends was invited. It's a family event, she explained. Family. The word tasted like metal in my mouth. The morning of my birthday, March 15th, 2025, Diane woke me up at 6 in the morning. We need to set up, she said. The party starts at 2. I spent 4 hours cleaning the house I'd already cleaned 1,000 times, blowing up balloons, setting up folding tables in the backyard, arranging chairs. The whole time, Diane kept reminding me how much everything cost. This cake was $200, Amy. The catering, another $300. I hope you appreciate this. I was setting up my own birthday party and being told I should be grateful for it. At 1 in the afternoon, she handed me a dress. Cheap. Target clearance. $18, still had the sticker on it. Wear this, she said, and smile for the photos. The party started at 2. 23 people showed up. They ate. They talked. They took photos. Diane kept her hand on my shoulder the whole time, smiling for the cameras like she was Mother of the Year. A neighbor pulled me aside. You're so lucky to have such a caring mom. I nodded. What else could I do? The envelope sat at my place, setting all through dinner. White, thick. My name written in Diane's perfect cursive. Everyone kept glancing at it. Tyler wouldn't look at me. Kayla picked at her food. They knew something I didn't. At 6 o'clock, after we cut the cake, Diane stood up. She clinked her wine glass. The backyard went quiet. Before Amy opens her special gift, she announced, her voice trembling with practiced emotion. Clayton and I want to say something. She launched into a speech about how hard it was when my father died, how she was a single mother, how Clayton stepped up to raise another man's child, how they gave me everything. The lies came smooth and easy. She talked about private tutoring I never received, family vacations I was never invited on, medical care that didn't exist. She was worth every sacrifice, Diane said, looking at me with fake tears in her eyes. People were crying, dabbing their eyes. A few were applauding. I sat there, hands clenched under the table, face completely blank. And now, Diane said, sliding the envelope toward me, it's time for Amy to understand what family really costs. 23 pairs of eyes watched me open it. Inside was a document, typed, professional-looking, header in bold, cost of raising Amy Jennings. Below it, a table. Housing, 18 years, $72,000. Food and groceries, $45,000. Clothing and necessities, $28,000. Education and school supplies, $15,000. Transportation, $12,000. Medical and insurance, $10,000. Total amount due, $182,000. At the bottom, payment plan available. First installment due April 1st, 2025. Signed, Diane Jennings, legal guardian. The table went silent. Then someone laughed. Nervous, confused. Then another person. Within seconds, the whole table was laughing. They thought it was a joke. Diane wasn't laughing. She raised her hand. The laughter stopped. This isn't a joke, she said, her voice sharp and clear. She looked directly at me. Her smile was gone. This is the cost of raising you after your worthless father got blown up in Afghanistan. Now that you're legal, you're going to pay us back every single cent. Worthless. Father. Blown up. Something inside me went cold. Not broken. Cold. Clayton raised his glass. To Amy finally taking responsibility. A few people laughed again, uncomfortable now. Most looked confused. A woman tried to intervene. Diane, this seems a bit… I'm completely serious. Diane cut her off. Every eye was on me. I stood up slowly, folded the bill once, twice, 3 times, slid it into my pocket. Diane's voice rose. Amy, sit down. We're not finished discussing. I walked past her, past Clayton, past the table of strangers who'd come to watch me be humiliated. Out the back gate. Behind me, Diane was screaming, "You ungrateful little…" I didn't turn around, I didn't run, I didn't cry, I just walked. 6 blocks to my best friend Jenna's house. She opened the door, saw my face, and pulled me inside without a word. I showed her the bill. Her mouth fell open. What the actual fuck? We spent the next hour Googling. Can parents charge adult children for raising them? Parental reimbursement laws. Filial responsibility. Every legal form said the same thing. No. Parents cannot bill children for basic care. It's not a debt. It's a legal obligation. So this is fake, Jenna said. This is complete bullshit. I stared at the ceiling. Then why did she do it? I didn't turn my phone on that night. I knew it would be exploding. Let them panic. The next day, March 16th, I stayed at Jenna's house. Phone still off. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't stop seeing that smile on Diane's face when she called my father worthless. My father, Sergeant Matthew Allen Jennings, killed in action. Worthless. I went to Jenna's room and cried into her pillow. Not the sad, helpless kind of crying, the kind that tastes like gasoline and burns on the way down. At 11 that night, I turned my phone on for exactly 60 seconds. 48 missed calls, 12 voicemails, 15 text messages. I turned it back off without reading any of them. The next morning, March 17th, I turned it on again. Now there were 63 missed calls, voicemails from Diane, pleading, then angry, texts from Clayton, threatening, a message from Tyler asking me to come home, blocked numbers I didn't recognize. I was about to turn the phone off again when a new text came through. Different number. 919 area code. Raleigh. The first line made my blood stop. Miss Jennings, this is Investigator Janet Barnes, Social Security Administration. I read it once, twice, 3 times. Miss Amy Jennings, this is Investigator Janet Barnes, Social Security Administration, Raleigh Field Office. We are conducting an investigation regarding survivor benefits paid in your name following the death of your father, Sergeant Matthew Allen Jennings, killed in action August 12, 2013. Our records indicate $221,520 in survivor benefits were disbursed from August 2013 through February 2025 to account holder D. Jennings, SSN ending 8834. Benefits terminated March 2025 when you turned 18. On March 10th, 2025, we sent final accounting notice to your address. We have no record of you ever contacting this office regarding your benefits. This constitutes a potential federal violation, misappropriation of survivor benefits. You are not under investigation. You may be a victim of fraud. Please call me immediately at 919-555-0139. Reference case SSA-NC-2025-8834. Time sensitive. Federal matter. Investigator J. Barnes, SSA, Office of the Inspector General. Jenna read it over my shoulder. Oh my God, Amy, they stole from you. They stole government money meant for you. My brain started making connections like dominoes falling. SSA said, $221,520 stolen. Diane's bill said, $182,000. Not exact, but close. Suspiciously close. She knew, I said out loud. She knew the government was coming. March 10th. SSA sends a letter. March 15th. Diane stages a public birthday humiliation, 5 days. She had 5 days to get ahead of the truth. The bill wasn't punishment. It was preemptive manipulation. Make me think I owed them before I found out they stole from me. So when the truth came out, I'd be too confused and guilty to fight back. That's why she did it in front of everyone, Jenna said. Witnesses? So you'd be too ashamed to contradict her story. Exactly. And the number. $182,000. That wasn't random. That was a confession hidden in plain sight. She spent about that much, and fabricated a bill to match. If I ever found out, she could say, "See? We told you at your party. We were being transparent." Except she forgot one thing. I'm not 6 years old anymore. I looked at the phone number. 919-555-0139. What are you going to do? Jenna asked. I'm going to call her back, I said. And then I'm going to burn their lives to the ground. I dialed. She answered on the second ring. Investigator Barnes. This is Amy Jennings. You texted me. Miss Jennings. Her voice shifted. Professional, but kind. Thank you for calling back. I need to ask you some questions. Did you receive survivor benefits after your father's death? I didn't even know they existed until 40 minutes ago. Long silence. I see. Can you tell me about your living situation growing up? Education? Savings accounts in your name? I told her everything. Basement bedroom. Public school while my half-siblings went to private. No college fund, no bank account. I'd worked part-time since I was 16, and every dollar I made, I hid in a shoebox because I didn't trust them. Janet Barnes was quiet for a long time. Then she said, Miss Jennings, I'm very sorry. What happened to you is called survivor benefit misappropriation. When benefits are paid to a representative payee, in this case your stepmother, they are legally required to use those funds for your benefit. Food, housing, education, savings. She was required to file annual reports showing how the money was spent. She never filed a single report. What does that mean? It means she committed federal fraud. And you were the victim. My hands were shaking. How much did they steal? $221,520. Over 12 years. I closed my eyes. There's more, isn't there? Yes. Your father had a military life insurance policy, SGLI. $400,000. Do you know if your stepmother received that? The room tilted. How much? $400,000. Paid in August 2013. It was meant for you. I couldn't breathe. Miss Jennings, I need you to come to my office. Tomorrow, if possible. There's a lot we need to discuss. The next day, March 18th, Jenna drove me to the Social Security Administration office in Raleigh. 32 minutes. I spent the entire drive staring out the window trying to process what I'd learned. My father left me money. $621,520, and I never saw a single cent. Janet Barnes met us in the lobby. 50s. Gray hair pulled back. Wireframe glasses. Kind eyes. Firm handshake. Miss Jennings, thank you for coming. She led us to a conference room and set a thick folder on the table. This is your file. Everything the Social Security Administration has on your father's death benefit and your survivor benefits. She opened it. Spreadsheets, hundreds of lines. Every single payment for 12 years. August 2013. $1,420. Deposited account 8834. September 2013. $1,420. Deposited account 8834, October 2013, $1,420. Deposited account 8834, on and on, month after month, year after year. Every single payment deposited into Diane's account. That's her account, I said quietly. Janet nodded. Yes. She was designated as your representative payee because you were a minor. Legally, she had custody and financial responsibility. But those funds, every dollar, were meant for your benefit, not hers. She pulled out another folder, thicker. Now we need to talk about SGLI, Service Members Group Life Insurance. Your father had a $400,000 policy. He designated you as his sole beneficiary. She slid a document across the table. Official form. Beneficiary designation. My name. Aimee Marie Jennings. 100%. When he died, this policy paid out. August 28th, 2013. Because you were a minor, the insurance company paid it to your legal guardian, your stepmother, with the legal requirement that it be held in trust for you. She opened a bank statement. I saw the deposit. $400,000, August 28th, 2013. Then the withdrawals. September 2014, minus $38,000. Memo, vehicle purchase. December 2014, minus $95,000. Memo, real estate investment. June 2018, minus $87,000. Memo, home renovation. March 2019, minus $52,000. Memo, business loan. Year after year, until the last line, current balance, $0. They spent it all? I said. Yes, every dollar. Janet's jaw was tight. What they did is called conversion of assets. It's felony fraud. I stared at the papers. My father's death benefit. $400,000, meant to give me a future after losing him, and she treated it like lottery winnings. Miss Jennings, you have options, Janet explained. Federal criminal case for Social Security fraud, her jurisdiction. Takes time but costs me nothing. Or civil lawsuit for the SGLI theft. Faster but needs an attorney. Or both. Let my criminal investigation run, she said. Meanwhile, file civil suit. Hit them from both sides. She gave me 3 attorney names. Pro bono through veteran advocacy organizations. How much could I recover? Civil? $621,000 in stolen funds plus interest. Emotional distress damages. Punitive damages. Attorney fees? Possibly $850,000 total. I couldn't process that number. One last thing, Janet said as I stood to leave. Your father's parents, your paternal grandparents. Did your stepmother prevent contact with them? I froze. I haven't seen them since I was 6. She said they blamed me for his death. That they didn't want me. Janet's face hardened. We need to verify that. Because if she interfered with family contact to hide the money, that's another crime. The next morning, March 19th, I made a decision. I needed to go back to the house. Not to live, to retrieve evidence. I knew their schedule by heart. Diane dropped the kids at school at 7:45, then Pilates until 9:30. Clayton's warehouse shift started at 6 a.m. The house would be empty from 8 to 9:30. I still had a key. Jenna drove. We pulled onto Pinewood Drive at 8:15. Diane's white Honda. Gone. Clayton's truck. Gone. House quiet. I unlocked the garage door. My hands were shaking. 29 minutes, Jenna whispered. Go. I stepped inside. It smelled like dust and motor oil and old cardboard. And there, in the back corner, I saw it. A box I hadn't seen in 11 years. Label in faded marker. Matthew, storage. I opened it with shaking hands. Inside, his uniform. A CU pattern. Name tape, Jennings. I touched the fabric. It still smelled like him. Or maybe I was imagining it. His medals, bronze star, purple heart, combat infantryman badge, all in a plastic bag, tarnished and forgotten. His dog tags, heavy, cold. Jennings, Matthew A. SSNXXX-XX-8834 OPOS Methodist, and then I saw them. Letters, 25 of them, bound with a dried rubber band, envelopes yellowed with age. My name on every one in his handwriting. To Amy, to my Amy, for Amy when she's older. Postmarks, Kandahar, Afghanistan. Dates from January 2012 to July 2013. I picked one up. The seal had never been broken. She kept them from me. For 12 years she kept my father's words from me. I opened the first letter with trembling hands. Dated March 2012. I was 5. Dear Amy, I miss you more than anything. I'm sorry I'm not there for your birthday. When I get home, we're going to go to the zoo like I promised. I want to see you smile. I love you so much, baby girl. Dad. I couldn't breathe. I opened another. July 18th, 2013. Amy, I'm coming home in October. I can't wait to see you. You've grown so much in the photos your mom sends. I have so many stories to tell you. I love you, Amy. Always. Dad. July 18th, 2013. He died August 12th. He never made it to October. I sat on the garage floor and cried. Not quiet tears. Deep, wrenching sobs. He loved me. He wanted to come home. He had plans. And she hid it all. At the bottom of the box, a manila envelope. Label in Diane's handwriting. SGLI, do not open. I opened it. Inside, SGLI claim form. Approval letter. Bank deposit slip for $400,000 and a yellow legal pad. Diane's handwriting. Dated September 2013. SGLI. Allocation plan. Down payment, Florida property. $100,000. Home renovation. $85,000. New vehicle for Clayton. $40,000. Credit card debt payoff. $52,000. College fund. Tyler and Kayla. $60,000. Emergency savings. $63,000. Total. $400,000. Tyler and Kayla. Not me. She allocated $60,000 for her children's college fund, using my father's death benefit. Tyler wasn't even born yet when she wrote this. Not one line mentioned me. Not $1 set aside for my future. She planned it all out like a shopping list. I pulled out my phone, took photos of every page, every receipt, every bank statement, every note in her handwriting, evidence. Then I heard a car door slam outside. Through the garage window, I saw Jenna frantically waving at me. Go. Diane's car was pulling into the driveway. I grabbed the box. All of it. Letters, medals, dog tags, documents. Ran to the back door. Diane was coming through the front. We missed each other by seconds. I sprinted across the yard, through the side gate. Jenna had the car door open. I dove in with the box. She floored it. In the rear-view mirror, Diane stood in the driveway, phone to her ear, staring after us. Good. Let her panic. The next few days were a blur of meetings with David Randolph and Janet Barnes. David, a former JAG officer with a thick Southern accent, looked at the evidence and actually whistled. Kid, this is one of the cleanest federal cases I've seen in years. Between the SGLI conversion, the unreported survivor benefits, and that restraining order against your grandparents, we've got multiple felonies. He explained how in North Carolina, interfering with a veteran's death benefits carried serious consequences, especially with the military community watching. Fayetteville is a military town. People here don't take kindly to someone stealing from a fallen soldier's child. Meanwhile, I started sleeping with my father's dog tags around my neck. Every night I read one more letter. They became my armor. I texted Janet Barnes. Found evidence. SGLI documents. Her handwritten allocation plan. 25 letters from my dad she hid. Sending photos now. Her response. Excellent work, Miss Jennings. This strengthens the case significantly. My phone buzzed. Text from Diane. You stole from me. I'm calling the police. I laughed out loud and texted back. Go ahead. I'm sure they'd love to hear about the $621,520 you stole from me. She didn't call the police, but within 3 hours the real assault began. My phone flooded with messages. Diane's sister. Your mother called me sobbing. What's going on? A neighbor. Amy, sweetie, your mom says you're going through something. Do you need help? The church pastor. Your family is very concerned. I'd like to mediate. My school counselor. Amy, your stepmother contacted me about mental health concerns. It was coordinated, calculated. The narrative. Amy, the unstable child. Diane, the concerned mother. She's always struggled with her father's death. She's been acting erratic since turning 18. We tried to celebrate her birthday, she exploded. She broke into our house and stole military items. We're considering psychiatric evaluation for her safety. I called the attorney Janet recommended. David Randolph, Veteran Advocacy Law, pro bono. He said, don't respond to anyone, not one word. They're trying to bait you into saying something they can use. Document everything, but do not engage. So I didn't. I watched the smear campaign unfold in silence. Then the fake legal threat arrived. Email from Clayton. Subject. Legal notice. Immediate action required. Official-looking letterhead. Bernard Fisher, ESQ, attorney at law. It demanded I return stolen property, cease defamatory statements, and sign a debt acknowledgement for $182,000, or face criminal charges. I Googled the attorney's name. 0 results. No bar registration. No law firm. Nothing. Fake. I forwarded it to David Randolph. His response came in under 2 minutes. LOL. This is the worst fake legal letter I've seen in 20 years. It's also witness intimidation under federal law. This helps your case. Then my maternal grandmother called. Ruth. 72. Sharp as a knife. Always taken Diane's side. Amy, this nonsense has gone far enough. Your mother is beside herself. Whatever you think happened, you need to be the bigger person. I stayed calm. Grandma, did she tell you about the $221,000 in Social Security survivor benefits she stole from me? Or the $400,000 in life insurance my father left me that she spent on herself? Silence. You sound paranoid, Amy. Maybe you do need professional help. Click. Then a call from a number I actually recognized. A voice I hadn't heard in 11 years. Amy? This is Mrs. Hoffman, Patricia Hoffman. I was your first-grade teacher. My breath caught. Mrs. Hoffman. Kind eyes, soft voice. She'd let me stay inside during recess when I was sad. I remember you, I said quietly. I remember you too, sweetheart. Your stepmother called me yesterday, said you were having a breakdown. But Amy, I taught you for 2 years. You were 7 when your daddy died. You came back to school so quiet. And then, after your mother remarried, you stopped smiling, you stopped drawing. She paused. I tried to talk to your mother. She shut me down. I even called the school nurse in 2015. We flagged you for potential neglect. CPS visited. Your stepmother was charming. House was clean. They closed the case. But I never forgot you. Why are you calling now? Because when Diane called me saying you were troubled, I knew she was lying. Tell me what's really happening. I told her everything. When I finished, she said, I'll testify. Character witness. Whatever you need. Then she said something that changed everything. There's something else. Your grandparents, your father's parents, George and Dorothy Jennings. They tried to visit you at school in 2014. Your stepmother had them removed and filed a restraining order. They wanted you, Amy. They never stopped wanting you. She gave me their phone number. I dialed with shaking hands. 3 rings. A man's voice. Hello? Is this George Jennings? Silence. Then, who is this? It's Amy, Matthew's daughter. I heard a sharp intake of breath, then shouting, Dorothy! Dorothy! It's Amy! A woman's voice trembling. Amy? Baby, is that really you? It's me. Sobbing. Deep, wrenching sobs. Oh my God, we've been looking for you for so long. Diane told me you didn't want me, that you blamed me for Dad's death. What? George's voice turned to fury. That's a lie. We loved you. We wanted you. That woman got a restraining order in 2015. Said we were harassing you. We fought it. Lost. We couldn't even send you birthday cards. Dorothy's voice breaking. We hired a private investigator twice, but you were a minor. We couldn't make contact without violating the order. We were waiting for you to turn 18. Can I see you? I whispered. Yes. Please. Tomorrow. We've waited 11 years. We can't wait one more day. The next day, March 24th, Jenna drove me to their house in Fayetteville. The door opened before we reached it. Dorothy collapsed into tears the moment she saw me. George hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. Inside, my father everywhere. Photos on every wall. Him as a baby. A boy. Teenager. Young man in army dress blues. The last photo. Him holding me as a newborn. Smiling. We never took them down, Dorothy whispered. She led me to a bedroom. My father's childhood room. Frozen in time. Blue walls. Twin bed. Football trophies. Baseball glove on the dresser. We kept it exactly how he left it, so you could know him. I pulled out the letters. I found these, in Diane's garage. She hid them from me. Dorothy's hands shook as she took them. We sat on my father's bed and read them together. All 25. We cried through every one. When I showed them the SGLI documents and Diane's allocation plan, George's face turned to stone. She spent his death benefit? Money meant for you? Dorothy looked at me. Her eyes were steel. What do you need from us? They offered everything. Financial support, a place to live, character witnesses, access to family records. There's someone else you need to meet, George said. Ron Peterson, VFW post commander. When he hears what she did, the veteran community won't stand for it. A week later, I got an Instagram message. Tyler, 11 years old. Amy, it's Tyler. Mom said you're sick and took Dad's stuff. But I heard her and Clayton fighting last night. She was crying and said something about jail. Are you okay? Did we do something wrong? My chest tightened. He's 11. He doesn't understand. I typed carefully. Tyler, you didn't do anything wrong. Neither did Kayla. The truth is complicated, but I'll try to explain. Your mom and Clayton took money that belonged to me. Money from my dad who died in the war. A lot of money. That's illegal. The government found out. 3 dots. Then. How much money? More than $600,000. Long pause. Are they going to jail? Maybe. I don't know. But whatever happens to them, you and Kayla will be okay. His next message, did they love you? I stared at those 4 words. I don't think they loved me, Tyler. I think I was useful to them. But that's not your fault. I sent him a photo. My father in uniform. American flag behind him. Smiling. This was my dad. Sergeant Matthew Jennings. He died in Afghanistan when I was 6. He was brave and kind and he loved me. Your mom never let me talk about him. But he existed. And he mattered. Long pause. I wish I'd known him. Me too, kid. Can I ask you something? If they go to jail, where will me and Kayla go? My throat tightened. I don't know. But you'll be taken care of. I promise. His last message. I don't think they loved me either. I closed my eyes. They broke these kids too. In therapy the next day, Dr. Winters asked me, "Do you feel responsible for Tyler and Kayla?" Yes. And do you think protecting Diane and Clayton from consequences will help them long term? I paused. No. If I let it go, they learn that crime pays, that you can steal from a child and get away with it. Your instinct to protect them is beautiful. But sacrificing your justice won't save them. It just means everyone loses. She was right. I could love Tyler from a distance. But I would not let guilt derail justice. 6 months passed, March to October 2025. The forensic accountant traced every dollar. The federal prosecutor built her case. The civil lawsuit moved forward. Diane and Clayton hired a lawyer. Public defender overflow, Thomas Kramer. Overworked and underpaid. Local news picked up the story. WRAL sent a reporter. Fayetteville stepmom accused of stealing veterans' death benefit. The story went viral. In late October, Ron Peterson from the VFW called, "Amy, we'd like you to speak at the Veterans Day ceremony, November 11th. Your father's name is on our memorial wall. It's time people knew what was stolen from both of you." I asked my attorney. She said, "As long as you stick to facts, you're fine. It's your story. Tell it." I started writing that night. Not a speech. A testimony. I didn't tell Diane I'd be speaking. But through Dorothy, I sent an olive branch. "I'll be at Dad's memorial ceremony. It would mean a lot if you came. Maybe we can talk." Diane thought I was breaking. She agreed. Brought Clayton and the kids. She thought she was walking into reconciliation. She was walking into a reckoning. November 11th, 2025. Clear blue sky, 58 degrees. Fayetteville Veterans Memorial Park was packed. 287 people. Folding chairs, American flags, veterans in dress uniform, camera crews. I saw Diane in the second row. Black dress, pearl necklace, perfect makeup, playing the grieving widow. Tyler beside her looked terrified. I'd warned him. "Tomorrow will be hard. I'm sorry." The ceremony began. National anthem, color guard, reading of names. Sergeant Matthew Allen Jennings, United States Army, killed in action, Afghanistan, August 12, 2013. Diane dabbed her eyes with a tissue. I waited. Ron Peterson stepped to the microphone. Our next speaker knew one of our fallen heroes personally. Please welcome Miss Amy Jennings, daughter of Sergeant Matthew Jennings. I walked to the podium, gripped the sides, looked out at 287 faces, took a breath. "My name is Amy Jennings. I'm 18 years old." My voice was steady. "My father, Sergeant Matthew Allen Jennings, was killed in Afghanistan when I was 6 years old. I don't remember his voice. I don't remember his laugh. For most of my life, I didn't have a single photograph of him in my room." Pause. "But 6 months ago, I found something. 25 letters he wrote to me from a war zone." I pulled one out, held it up. In his last letter, dated July 18th, 2013, he wrote, "Amy, I'm coming home in October. I can't wait to see you. I love you always. Dad." My voice cracked. He never made it home. He died 25 days later. I looked up. Half the audience was crying. I found these letters hidden in a box. They'd been there for 13 years. I was never meant to see them. I looked at Diane. For 13 years, I was told my father left me nothing. I turned to the screen behind me. Ron clicked the remote. Bank statement appeared. 8 feet tall. When my father died, the United States government provided survivor benefits. $1,420 every month for 12 years. $221,520. Money designated for me. Next slide. Every payment highlighted. Every payment deposited into my stepmother's account. The crowd murmured. I never saw a single dollar. Gasps. My father also had military life insurance. $400,000 left to me. Next slide. SGLI payout. Paid August 28, 2013. Here's how it was spent. Next slide. Withdrawals line by line. Vehicle purchase, $38,000. Real estate, $95,000. Home renovation, $87,000. I turned back to the audience. $621,520. My father's death benefit. My inheritance. My future. Stolen. Diane shot to her feet. This is slander. She's lying. Ron Peterson and two other veterans stepped into the aisle, blocking her exit. Ma'am, sit down. Let her finish. Clayton grabbed her arm. Shut up. I waited for silence. I'm not lying. The Social Security Administration opened a federal investigation in March 2025. Case number SA-NC-2-025-8834. The evidence is documented. I pulled out the birthday bill. On my 18th birthday, I was handed this. A bill for $182,000. I read the header. The crowd went silent. My stepmother looked me in the eyes and said, I quoted her exactly, "The cost of raising you after your worthless father got blown up in Afghanistan." Someone in the audience yelled. A veteran shouted. Worthless father, I repeated. That's what she called the man whose name is on that wall. I gestured to the memorial. $182,000. Close enough to what they stole to be a confession. I folded the bill. My father fought for justice. Today, I'm fighting for his. The crowd erupted. Standing ovation. Veterans saluting. Diane trying to push past Ron. He didn't budge. Tyler ran to me, hugged me, sobbing. I'm sorry. Media swarmed Diane at her car. Mrs. Jennings, is it true you spent over $600,000 meant for your stepdaughter? Her response made it worse. We had expenses. Raising a child is expensive. The cameras caught everything. Within 48 hours, the video had 2 million views. November 14th, 7:22 a.m. Two black SUVs pulled up to their house. FBI, Social Security Office of Inspector General. Diane and Clayton were arrested. Federal charges, fraud, theft, witness intimidation. Perp walk on live television. December 20th. Civil court. Judge Carolyn Meyer ruled from the bench. I've read the evidence. The defendant's claim that parents can bill children for care is absurd and offensive. Judgment, $850,520. They didn't have it. House foreclosed. Florida condo sold. Vehicles seized. I recovered $395,000. It wasn't everything. But it was acknowledgement. Tyler and Kayla went to live with George and Dorothy. The court granted custody in February. And me? December 18th. I visited my father's grave for the first time in 12 years. Sandhills State Veterans Cemetery. Row 14, Plot 122. A simple white headstone. Sergeant Matthew Allen Jennings, U.S. Army Afghanistan, October 15th, 1985 to August 12th. 2013. Purple Heart Bronze Star Beloved Father, I knelt on the frozen grass. Touched the cold stone. Hi, Dad. I'm sorry it took me so long. I pulled out the letters, all 25, and I read them out loud. Every single one. By the last letter, I was sobbing, but not sad crying. Relief. I found them, Dad. I found your letters. I found the truth. I found your parents. I found you. I put my hand on the stone. You never abandoned me. You left me everything you could. And she tried to erase you. But she failed. George stood behind me, hand on my shoulder. Dorothy knelt beside me with flowers. We stayed for an hour. By spring, life looked different. I lived with George and Dorothy. My father's room was mine now, his medals on my wall. Home. I enrolled at Fayetteville Technical Community College, psychology major, therapy twice a week, slowly learning what normal felt like. I started the Sergeant Matthew Jennings Memorial Scholarship, $50,000 from my settlement, donations from strangers, another $18,000. First recipient, a 16-year-old girl whose father died in Iraq. I handed her the check myself. $5,000 for college. She cried. So did I. Tyler lived with us now, in therapy, struggling but healing. We were learning how to be siblings without Diane between us. I even started dating someone, Ethan, from my psych class. Nice. Normal. It felt strange. Good strange. The criminal trial was scheduled for April 14th, 2026. I was ready. But before I get there, I need to say something to you. If you're watching this and you see yourself in my story, if you've been told you're a burden, that you owe someone for basic care, that you should be grateful for the bare minimum, please hear me. You don't owe them. Love isn't a loan. Childhood isn't a debt. Parents who treat you like an invoice aren't parents. They're extortionists. I spent 18 years believing I was worthless, that I was lucky anyone kept me. I was wrong. My father left me a legacy. Not just money, though they stole that too. He left me his strength, his honor, his belief that truth matters. And the family I thought I'd lost? I found them. Not in the people who raised me, in the people who loved me when I had nothing to offer but the truth. George and Dorothy, Mrs. Hoffman, the veteran community, Jenna, even Tyler, who chose healing over loyalty to his parents' lies. That's family. If you're in my situation, document everything. Find one person who believes you, and speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. Because the people who hurt you are counting on your silence. Don't give it to them. My name is Amy Jennings. I'm 19 years old, and I'm my father's daughter. If this story helped you, share it. If you know someone being financially abused, send them resources. Comment below. What's one boundary you need to set? Thank you for being here with me.